Morning, it's Heavy Dobby. Today is Tuesday, and it's the 5th of February, and I had a 1.1 release yesterday, so pleased with that. I made myself some homemade P2 chili last night. I made a double batch, so I have another bowl full in the refrigerator, but I wanted to wait and see how it affected me, and seemed to have done quite well. So I do feel a little swollen in my hands, but even still, I did have a release. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about a little epiphany I had, and I know that some of you are going to go, well, yeah. But I can walk down this hall, down at the end of this section, even here, there's a bowl full of Dove chocolates. There's candy everywhere. There's donuts and all that. And as I pass by them, I don't give them a second thought. Now, if I'm alone in this room and I walk by the candy, I want to eat the whole bowl. My mother was a professional model when I was growing up. She's an Anne Margaret look-alike, for those of you who know who Anne Margaret is. Beautiful. She was a leg model. And she had to send me away when I was 9 years old, and I lived with my grandparents on a farm in Arkansas. And I learned how to eat then and comforted myself, feeling like my mother had abandoned me. And when I got back together with my mom, I was about 11 years old, and I weighed about 111 pounds. And I'll never forget the tone in her voice when she found out how much I weighed. And she said, "Oh, Debbie." And it was such a disappointment. At that moment, food became a value, and she tried to control how and what I ate. The refrigerator was full of foods with stickers on them that I wasn't allowed to eat because my mom was constantly on a diet. And because I wasn't serious about dieting, she didn't want me to eat her diet foods. And that's when I started putting a value on food. And all those foods that have power over me are sugars and starches, potato chips and candy and stuff like that. So I did a little bit of research and looked up online about what kind of symptoms one has when they are a closet eater. And one of them is hiding food in odd places. My mother caught me with a package of Hershey candy bars when I was younger under my mattress. Odd places, hiding under the bed, hiding in the closet, hiding in an old purse, in a pocket of a coat that's hanging up. Eating at unconventional times. I could literally, when I'm cooking, eat a whole portion, eat my meal looking like it's an average meal, and then when I'm putting food away, eat another meal. Finding it difficult to stop eating when alone. That, when I go to house sit, I have this urge to go buy anything and everything I possibly can and eat it when I'm alone. When I'm in the car, alone. When I'm home, alone. And it used to be when I lived with my mother, I would stand near the window and watch. And if she drove up, my heart would race and I would rush and hide all my foods. But I think it's really funny that those foods that have a value are the ones that I can walk by if there are people around. They don't bother me. It's only when I'm alone. Here's another one that I've noticed that I've become progressively worse at. I used to not have to feel the judgment of my husband, and I still don't, but I seem to be becoming worse at it, and that is hoarding food or hiding empty food containers. And like I said last week, I binged, or I loaded, and I currently have an ice cream container in one of my drawers in the bedroom. And it's not that my husband would judge me, but it's just old habits coming back. And I feel like I have to dispose of that food container in a private manner. Hi guys. I had to stop my vlog this morning because I had a lot of emotions that were running through my head by the time I got to the end of that list. And I've spent quite a bit of the day in my quiet time thinking about some of my wounds of my childhood. And so I'm just going to call this the first step of possibly many in my healing process, because I realized today just how much of an effect my mom and her values and her attempt to make me become thin, how much it has really affected me. I live to eat. At times it's been my only friend and my only comfort. And it's not for pleasure. It's to stuff the hurt. I will attempt to stuff my stomach, with rolls of Lifesavers, or I will attempt to stuff my stomach with bowls of potatoes, or it doesn't matter what the food is. I attempt to stuff whatever it is instead of taking time to just enjoy the flavor of something. Anyway, I'm not gonna, I think I'm gonna stop now because I want to have I want to go through a process, and this is one of the first steps of my process. So I'm going to call it a vlog and get this out to you, and keep working on this Hebby Dobby and who she is, because it's about this time last year or so that I started to panic. And you guys, I still have a long way to go. And if I'm panicking now, I'm having some self-doubt if I could make it to the end. So, one step at a time. So, here's my first step. Bye.